become the world leader in education. But somehow we see that it is not happening. It is time now. For example, the international students number is 30 lakhs, 3 million. What is the role of India in international students? We get only 1% of the total international students. We have very good institutions, IITs, IIMs, but what is their role? How many students are they taking? We pay them 300 crores. They admit 300 students. This is the kind of universities we have. I am not decrying them. They are prestigious institutions. But how can we do this? If you go to US university, they admit 3,000 students in the first year, in engineering alone. Some universities admit 5,000 students. Their total is 40,000 to 50,000, a minimum of 25,000. We think 5,000 is the maximum number we can have in India. This is the kind of mentality which we have got from the British onwards. They have changed, but we have not changed. We follow the same old rigid system. If you select one subject, you cannot shift to other subjects. This academic reform should be introduced. If I want to study some subject, I should be allowed to do. We have introduced in Vellore, but I want the whole country to get the benefit. That's why there is no mobility of student. If I join an institution in Madras, I can't go to Bombay, I can't go to Pune, I can't come to Delhi. But I am sending my students to US, Canada, Europe, Australia and Singapore because there is a credit system, credit transfer is allowed. This kind of reform should take place. Mobility of students within the country must be allowed. Private sector must have a role to play. And these 4 bills, if you go through them, I will take only 1 minute. I don't know how many of you are aware of these bills. All these 4 bills, if you read them, it reads like Indian Penal Code. I will give you 2 examples. On the face of it, the Prevention of Unfair Practices Bill seems to be very good. But if you go into the details, if you publish some paper or an advertisement, if it is contrary or variance with what is the reality, you can be punished up to 3 years imprisonment. And accreditation, this is another example, extreme case. Accreditation, it is not mandatory anywhere in the world. According to the bill, it is mandatory, it is compulsory. If you don't apply for accreditation within this certain period, you can be punished for 2 years imprisonment. Even if you apply, but if you don't get it, you will be punished for 2 years imprisonment. This is the kind of bills which is being introduced in Parliament. It is high time that all these bills are withdrawn. Talk to the private sector, find out their problems. Whatever they want to do, the minister or the governments, state governments as well as central government can do it. And in school education, the government is unable to compete with private sector. In college education, the government is unable to compete with the private sector. How are they going to compete in university education? It is not possible. It is possible if all of them put their heads together and do it. And all of them are not good, like the government. In the government also there are good, bad and ugly. In the private sector also there are good, bad and ugly. It is bound to happen. But over a period, all this ugly and bad will disappear. They will fade away. The people are the best choosers. The students and parents know where to admit their children, and they will admit. So you need not worry about punishing them. If you want to encourage them, it is possible. Select some few universities, few good colleges in a year, give them a certificate, if not some money. That will encourage others to go for high quality of education. I hope it will happen. We are thinking of becoming an advanced country, becoming a superpower. In education, it is possible India to become a superpower. We have the best of students, best of teachers. Only the government should not hamper the progress. That's all. Thank you.
I think he has summarized the situation of higher education in India, almost. And our next speaker is well-known Dr. Ashok Chauhan, who is founder, president of Ritnand, the Beloved Education Foundation, known as MET Group. And I think that after listening to all others, and you have ventured in school, you have ventured in higher education, you have ventured in inside India, outside India, and so your analysis of the situation and your suggestions for how to reform the sector. Sir. 5 minutes, 7 minutes.
I got an order from my brother, Dr. Rashrim Pillai, to come here. And he is such a person which is difficult to describe. A deep-rooted researcher, academic administrator, a person who has the vision in the distance learning and e-learning. I've never met a person, I must tell you openly, like him all over the world. I was 28 years in West Germany, employing 6,000 Germans, but I, sir, compliment you and salute you that through you and through e-learning, the country is developing so fast. When I was told what the topic is, World Education Summit, I was thinking that at this moment, there could not be any better topic for the development of the nation, growth of the nation, and making India to show to the whole world that there is no country parallel to India in various respects. When I came to know that Ravi Gupta is organizing it, you know, when you see who is the organizer and see his excellence, I've gone through just now his magazine, perfection is there. At this hour in the evening, sitting so many people listening to Shantanu Prakash, Vishwanathan, Sushma Barlia and other worthy speakers shows and tells me one thing. One thing is common in all of you. What is that? Each one here or near me has rigorous, intensive contact with education in one or the other way. And I don't think anything else at this time in the world can be where you can fulfill the mission of your life, where you can help the humanity, and where you can make, as Vishwanathan told, India a knowledge superpower or a superpower. In 1986, when I was in Germany, I dreamt making this, India knowledge superpower and a world superpower. Biggest Asian in the whole West Germany. So I thought, let me go back to India. I came back in 1994, started with a school in 1991. And today, with the help of all those worthy people sitting over here, I just implement their vision and their advice. And we have come to this position. I wanted to meet Vishwanathan ji. VIT is one of the best universities in the country, so I am very glad to be with here. I compliment you all because all those who have come here have come with some ideas, knowledge, some conception, expression. When you will go out, your brain will be much loaded. The worthy ideas which has been told here, how through education one can achieve everything and anything in life. Because India has 65% people which are below the age of 35 years. 44% below the age of 14 years. So 68 crores and about 46 crores. Can you imagine the power and the strength of the country? We will rule the world, and now the whole world is coming for education to India because the ethos, the values, the sanskars which we have, nowhere. People are bringing their awards from America or Europe to put to our universities, to VIT and IGNOU and others, because they will get their child safe. So I really congratulate everybody sitting over here because you are in the right line of thoughts, and I compliment the organizers. A lot has been said. Vishwanathan ji has rightly told the worries, concern in a fierce way. He's right. Shantanu ji is right. Sushma Barlia, whom I heard, Gupta ji. Everybody has really expressed what is required if we follow the right routes, if we follow the mix up the best of the West and the best of the East. We can create superhuman beings which will control the whole world. The Western education is still much better. We have to learn from curriculum, research, methodology, from teaching methodology, from the attitude and aptitude of the faculty which we don't have. If you adopt that, we can do it. Through internet, we can see everything. But they can't learn our ethos, values, sanskars and heritage. They can't learn. If we can mix all those who are sitting over here, then each product from any university will go anywhere in the world and show that we Indians are unparalleled. I would have not got that success. I don't want to tell my name. But any Indian employs 6,000 Germans, it means we have something unique, which is unparalleled. So I would say all those sitting over here can have their mission and name in whichever area they are. ICT area or technology or education, school, university, training, development. When we go out, then we should make a mission which is very high and say we have to achieve, and seeing your faces, I am sure we will achieve. I congratulate Rasheng Pillai and every speaker, everybody. A lot has been said. I don't want to repeat what is required in the country. Naturally, a lot of awareness for private initiatives required from government, bureaucrat and legislation, which is not there. We as a private educator have a lot of problem because the rules and laws are so that every step hurdles are there. So I think you all know it, but I would say it is good that you are in this area. It is good that you have come here and listen. When you go back, put your aim many 100% higher, and you will serve the country, serve the humanity, serve the world, so that everybody is proud of you. Rasheng ji, again my compliment. Ravi Gupta, my compliment to you all to present here. I think you have heard all. I don't want to say much. Thank you to organizers.
May I request Professor Pillai to, sir, you were supposed to moderate the panel. I had to start it. So you are here, and I think your vision, your guidance is like very much required, sir.
First of all, let me once again thank each and every one of you for accepting the invitation of the program chair. I am the program chair of this event. And when Dr. Ravi Gupta, Ms. Narayanan and the entire team approached me to be with them for organizing an event of this kind, the purpose was definitely this interaction. Today, the panel sitting over here and many of you are sitting in the audience. You are providing education, you are providing knowledge, you are providing skills. You are creating social mobility in the country. And this particular conclave or particular session, 2-hour session, is about the role of private sector in education in India. Probably this country has one of the strongest private sectors in the whole world.